Hi Cancer, welcome to your reading for June 2020 and happy early birthday to you June Cancers. Okay, all of the planets, modern and ancient, associated with your relationships are going into retrograde. What does that mean? Or have gone into retrograde. It means that none of your old tricks, your age-old tricks work. Relationships that you thought were very solid even are being reevaluated. There's no place to hide. There's no way to cajole anyone into getting what you want. There's no way to manipulate or cry your way into it. There is no place for tantrum yoga. No matter how much you stomp your feet, the universe is not going to give you the relationship outcome that you want. It's time to learn lessons, not win. Very different. As much as people may not realize this, Cancer loves to win and is quite competitive, especially in love. And so June can be particularly difficult because every time Cancer feels like it might win, there's another lesson instead. When it comes to money, we have to also be careful now because things that we think are very stable are also getting an overhaul. That includes your job, your career, your future plans. Everything is up in the air in Gemini season, and it can leave a very unpleasant taste in your mouth. So what do? Do we go hide in our shells? Or do we reinvent? Knowing us, we reinvent. We burn ourselves down to the ashes before anyone else, including the universe, has a chance. And we remake ourselves. So, okay, we can't emotionally blackmail anyone. Fine. There's got to be a way around it. Yes, there is. Learn. Learn what? Learn how valuable an emotionally stable relationship is. What's that? You'll see. June will teach you. What about money? Well, if you owe anyone any money, start saving to pay them back. It is a time where people will come looking for the repayment of debts. Quickly, though, you will figure out how to make more money. Like I said, you'll reinvent. You'll be all right. You're a cardinal sign after all. And by Leo season, you may even get the relationship outcome you want. It just won't happen in June. So don't hold your breath. That's all. The tide is coming in strong. And the undertow is strong too. So expect to get pushed and pulled a bit. But that's okay. When things settle down and your season begins, all the trials and tribulations, all the retrograde nonsense of Gemini season will make a lot more sense than it will in the moment. In the moment, it's all going to seem like that. But with a little perspective, as the sun comes into your sign, you'll see why it was necessary. There is a tangible value growing within you, a heaviness in your center that wasn't there before. And it's based solely on learning new lessons. Sometimes the cardinal signs can make the mistake of thinking they know everything, especially Cancers, because you feel everything, so you think you know everything. But now you have to venture outside of what you think you know. There's a lot to learn, and it would be a shame not to learn it. It would be a shame to miss this opportunity. Because although the lessons will be harsh, although the lessons will be harsh, they will be valid. And no one can really teach you anything. And no one is able to pull you out of your comfort zone. You created the comfort zone. But the universe can. Retrograde season can. Eclipse season can. And it will. So be grateful. Be grateful that something out there is stronger than you and has the guts and the strength to teach you something. And take a cue from this here. Be strong, especially when it comes to the dissolving of relationships. Be strong. Don't let what's supposed to be a lesson turn into a person you can't let go of. Especially this one. But if it's not a Virgo you're dealing with, then it's you you're dealing with. And if it's you you're dealing with, then it's really, really important to know what to let go of now. It's too crowded in that shell. Saturn retrograde is harsh. Pluto retrograde is even more harsh, and they both have to do with how you relate romantically. And they want to clean house. So you're going to take that hermit lamp and you're going to look inside your shell, and wherever there are cobwebs, you're going to clean them out, and you're going to want to hold on to every single one of them. And there will be tears. And there will be clinging. Or there will be acceptance, a graceful letting go, and learning. Either way, it will happen, kicking and screaming or laughing and skipping. We will get there. Now it just depends on how much dignity you want to have by the time we get to your season. It's all up to you. But it's not up to you at all. Annoying, right? I know. It's kind of an annoying time. But I promise you that when we leave Gemini season, whatever relationships you have left will be built on truth and a sincerity of feeling. They will be reciprocal, and they will be deeply, deeply important to you. And they will stay. And if there is nothing left, perfect. Because into that vacuum will walk something or someone that you can't even imagine right now. Because you don't know the things you'll know by the time we get to July. So, don't be afraid. Don't panic. Don't cry. It's all good stuff. But if you aren't very good at opening those claws, you might get them snapped off. Because Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto and Venus are not playing any games. And they have very little patience for the clingy or the needy. Everything that has happened so far this year was prep for this test. Remember when I told you not to be needy? That was for this. Remember when I told you to be self-sufficient? That was prep for this. Now we're here. Now you're sitting in the exam. Everything you've learned up until now, apply it. Apply it before June 5th. Apply it early and apply it often. Find your power within the ever-changing emotional tide that you live in. Find a way to harness what nobody else can. And you'll be one step ahead of the lesson, and you'll pass. And that's what we want. To gracefully pass and move along to our next adventure. And we can, and we will. It's just going to require a little bit of risk. But that's okay. We got this. Right? Love you. Let's look at these cards. Hi Cancer, welcome to the second part of your reading. Okay, so now that you can see the cards, I think there's a lot more sense to be made. Let's start here at the top. I mean, it's all about relationships. You have the Three of Pentacles, you have the Six of Cups, you have the Two of Cups. It's all very romantic, but it's about learning. It's about the changes that are happening inside of you. The North Node has moved on and it's left you more mature and with different ideals. And now that change goes even deeper. The retrogrades want from you a solid foundation, and that means reinvention. And it also means tying together somehow your newfound emotional maturity with your work. It's time to examine how you feel about what you do. How does your conscience sit with what you do? Do you genuinely like what you do? Are you excited about it? Or is it something to get you through the day? The same thing goes for your relationships. Do you actually enjoy the people you're friends with? Do you enjoy the person who you are somehow romantically linked to? Speaking of which, let's not try to go from 0 to 1,000,000 with someone who may turn out to be a great, great partner, but they can't stand the pressure of you wanting to get married on the first date. Take it easy. Be slow. You yourself are changing so much and so quickly in June that it's not right to ask anyone to commit, because who are they committing to? You are in a state of flux. You are the tide. And like the tide, you're going to ebb and flow quite a lot this month. So even if you were to secure some sort of commitment from someone, it's not valid, because a few weeks later, you're going to be different again. So my advice would be to keep it pretty casual. Solidify things later. July, August, sure. For now, keep it casual. Keep it light, as Gemini season always wants you to do anyway, light and breezy. But with yourself, be serious, be grounded, really look and see if what you are attracting, meaning what you are yourself, is what you want. Because all we ever attract is who we are. So where are you? Are you comfortable with what you've attracted so far? Are you comfortable with who you're becoming? Are you even enthusiastic about it? Because the more excited you get about these changes, the better they work out for you. It's not a time to feel like you are being punished by the retrogrades. If anything, this is a huge gift. It's not often that a set of retrogrades and eclipses comes together like this to teach you how to really ground yourself. And there's nothing wrong with it. You can be grounded and still emotional. You can be grounded and intuitive. You can be grounded and passionate. You can even be grounded and moody if you want to be. That heaviness in the center that I mean has nothing to do with changing your personality. It has to do with how much you are willing to give, what you are no longer willing to sacrifice, big one there for you, and also the biggest, what you expect and what you will not settle for. Ironically, you can expect so much from yourself and very little from your partners. You can also expect a level of commitment from them that is near impossible for you yourself. Not to say that you're not committed, but even the most deep feeling of us have a hard time living up to the Cancerian commitment demands. Don't ask. June will teach you that the people who are worthy of that level of commitment, the ones you'll want to give it to naturally and will want to reciprocate, they don't need to be asked. They don't need to be cajoled. They don't need you to coerce them into it. They'll want to do it. And the way you attract somebody like that with those intentions is by looking inside, figuring out where that resides within you. Do you want to be committed on that level? What does that mean? How can you, just by yourself, exhibit those qualities? Because those qualities actually have nothing to do with being in a relationship. It has to do with being consistent with your word. It has to do with repaying your debts. It has to do with not letting your emotions be an excuse to be cruel to people. It has to do with being brave enough to trust your intuition instead of kicking yourself later. And it has to do with reevaluating how you make money. Are you comfortable with it? Where can you push? Where can you go further? Where can you be bold and dynamic and think up even new ways? Because you can. You don't need to be stationary. Cancer by its nature cannot be. And yet, you will find often in your life that the Cancerians are the ones that are beyond stubborn and refuse to move on certain issues, which makes no sense considering that you live in a state of flux. You are an animal born of that flux. So how do we get comfortable with that? How do we find our dynamic self in there? How do we entertain our most salient ideas and act on them and take risks? How do we develop a loving relationship with someone without asking them for commitment? It's a risk. It's a risk. But obviously those risks pay off very well if you allow something other than yourself to control the outcome. No more controlling things. No more even trying to control them. Let these things happen for you. If you've got a Scorpio or a Pisces or a Leo in your life, or, that Virgo, they're kind of everywhere. Cancer, you are kind of surrounded by people right now, especially if this is a rising placement. You've got, the Pisces doesn't know what to do with you. And there are very high chances here that it's more about money than it is about love. The Leo is so in love with you, they don't know what to do, which usually means they act like an idiot. The Scorpio is far more serious even than you are, which, is aptly terrifying. And then there's the Virgo, the wild card, who requires such a departure from your normal self and a risk that it's quite exciting and quite tempting. But we'll look at those. The point is, it is about love, but it isn't about anybody else. It's about you. It's about you recreating yourself. What does this new love shell look like? How big is it? What color is it? How much can fit in there? You get to determine some very key aspects now of a side of you that perhaps until now you felt like you really didn't have any control over. It actually had control over you. But here we are. And it's fun and it's exciting, and yeah, it's a little bit terrifying, and yeah, it's a little bit stressful, but not if our self-esteem is high, not if we know that we can handle it and that whatever we end up doing, it's going to be the best thing. So be honest with others, with yourself. Rest as much as you can. Don't worry too much if you've been having too much of some sort of a medical issue. Things will clear up in a couple of months. You just gotta wait this out. And in the meantime, not disintegrate. So, that's it, Cancer. Happy early birthday. I love you guys. If you would like a personal recorded reading sent to you, the link is below. If you would like a one-on-one video chat reading, that link is below as well. And of course, the instant extended and the Vimeo extended links are below. Love you lots. Let's get into it right now.